Hey everyone, it's B here. Hope you're doing alright. I don't want to totally disappoint you, but everything that I say is totally alleged, so please don't take it as fact. Let's just get that out of the way right in the beginning. I have several things I want to share with you all today, so I'm ready to get started. So let's do it. I was checking out Archewell.com today to see if they had anything going on mentioning the Queen, and this was all that was on there. This page right here that I took a screenshot of, saying, "In loving memory of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II and the years of her birth and death." Well, you would think, as most of the stations are, having just a picture of the Queen and this memoriam card, website, page, whatever you like to call it. But Harry and Meghan, so vain, they have to put a picture of Harry in there as well. Well, I'm surprised Meghan's not in the picture also, but it's just Harry. They can't just have a picture of Gan. They have to have a picture of Harry in there with her. Their egos know no bounds, folks. And I've also heard, allegedly here, that Meghan is officially styling herself now the daughter-in-law of the king. I told my partner the other day, I know now that, well, like every door wasn't open to her to begin with, but anyone that was closed to her now, she's going to try to force it open with that line, "My father-in-law is the king," blah, blah, blah. You know how she is. She tries to open doors with her connections to the royal family, and she certainly milked it for all it's worth, making as much money as she can. But let's get off the two of them for a moment, discuss some other things that's going on with the royal family, but we are going to come back to them because they are just despicable. So, as we see here, the Princess Royal, deep curtsying to her mother. I believe this was taken in Scotland as her mother's coffin was entering the cathedral to be viewed by the public. But Anne has not left her mother's side, and I wanted to mention that to everyone. Here's a better picture of that curtsy. It's a very deep curtsy, very respectful, but even when her mother's coffin flew on the plane from Scotland back to England, Anne and her husband flew on the plane with the coffin. She has not left her mother's side. That's got to be commended, and you know she was the hardest working member of the royal family. She took on more engagements, did more than the rest of them, so kudos to her. And you know she misses her mother at a time like this. You know the two of them were very close. But moving right along, I mentioned this in my last video, and I wanted to mention it again, how glad we are that Prince William and Princess now Kate have been promoted to, or been created, the Prince and Princess of Wales. Not Wales, I'm sorry, not beluga whales, but Wales. Excuse me, I am American, right? So yeah, I wanted to mention that because, as we know, Kate is the first one to hold that title since Diana, Princess of Wales. There I go again, Princess of Wales. And you know Meghan has to be fuming about this because Kate is now an official princess, and Meghan does not get a bump up in her title. You notice when Charles gave his first official speech as king from Buckingham Palace on Friday, I believe it was, he went on and on about William and Kate, how they're doing their duty, service, etc., and then he said that he was creating them Prince and Princess of Wales. And then he mentioned Harry and Meghan, but he didn't say too much about them. What did he say? He said he sends them his love, making their life in another country. And that was it. No other titles, no other nothing. So, yeah. And I wanted to mention one other thing about this. They had to before, but now they definitely have to stand behind William and Kate at everything. As you see here at the procession in Westminster Hall, William and Kate in front of Harry and Meghan, of course. So, speaking of that, Harry here, we see him crying. And what's that all about? Do you think that those tears are real? And look at that look on Meghan's face. I don't think she's in too much distress. She's looking down at those books, those little flyers, pamphlets. I don't know what the official name for them is. I'm sorry. But looking down at those, but Harry's putting on here like he's crying. Maybe it's a genuine show of emotion. You can't tell with these two. I don't think anything these two do is actually genuine, but who knows. But he's putting on for the cameras. I truly believe, allegedly, that he is. But some of you might not. You might think that he genuinely misses his grandmother, feels bad about what he put her through the last 2 or so years of her life, how good that his family was to him. Oh my goodness. That's the puppies in there crying. But yeah, how good that his family was to him and how dirty he did them. And how he wasn't there in his grandmother's last moments, how he was 15 minutes late. Maybe all that's coming home to roost on him right now, and he feels bad. Or maybe he just thinks, oh gosh, this is a great photo op. Let me pretend that something's wrong. I don't want to judge, but I do believe, allegedly, wink wink. So, moving right along, and one thing about Westminster Hall that I noticed, where the Queen's body, by the way, is lying in state until the official funeral this coming Monday, the 19th of September, is this timber roof. Isn't it gorgeous? It was commissioned in 1393 by King Richard II. And one thing I thought of with the Queen's passing, before we get to the Harry and Meghan juiciness that I want to speak of, is the Queen's dogs. Word is that Her Majesty had a corgi and a dorgie, which if you don't know what a dorgie is, it is a cross between a corgi and a dachshund. I believe that they first came to become a pet of the Queen because Princess Margaret had dachshunds, and the two interbreeded. One of the Queen's corgis and the dachshund interbreeded, and that's how they got dorgies, and the Queen's kept some. But the two that she had when she passed away were still young and given to her by Prince Andrew. So word is that he is going to get those two dogs and he will take care of them now, her dorgie and corgi. And you know what I thought when I heard this? I thought, oh, how terrible, him with the dogs, and nobody likes him, etc., etc. But then I thought, the dogs are young, and he's allegedly good with young things, and he can run out in the yard and play all he wants to with them, and doesn't have to worry about sweating. His clothes won't get dirty. It's fabulous. So, alright, the next thing that I wanted to talk about, this. Meghan's supporters are alleging, probably via Meghan's mouth, she's getting the word out there, that she's already experiencing racism being back in the UK. Now, if you saw the video and the pictures, Harry, Meghan, William and Kate reunited. I saw on BBC News they called it the reunion of the Fab Four. I thought, that can't be. John and George have been dead for years. Not possible. But no, it was the Prince and Princess of Wales and Harry and Meghan. I will not use their official titles. So they came outside of Windsor Palace and greeted some of the people that were there. But a few people, one of this was caught on video, that's what I'm going to show you. One of them wasn't too happy to see Meghan. She ignored Meghan. And Meghan and her supporters are crying racism due to this. Let's check out the video. I found this on Page 6's YouTube channel. You can check it out for yourself. It's that lady right there with the gray hair, short gray hair. Look, she didn't... Here's an up close of it. Look at that, guys. No, she didn't want any part of Meghan. She totally ignored her. What would you do if you're standing there and Meghan was about to greet you? I believe I would do the same thing. Now, the place that I read about this that referred me to the video said that this lady turned around and laughed with her friend. I didn't think that was correct. But let's go back and watch it one more time. It's so lovely. It's so wonderful. I absolutely love it. Ignoring Meghan right there. Oh, yes, honey. I would do the same thing. I would go a step further and turn my back to her. You're not supposed to turn your back to a royal, or is that just the monarch? Either way, if I was that woman and I didn't want to shake Meghan's hand, which I would not, I would give her the shoulder, honey. I would give her my cold shoulder. My shoulder would be so frosty, it would be like Antarctica. Brr. Okay, moving right along. The last thing that I want to talk about, and they said that that woman is not the only one in the audience, you guys, who did that. or not the audience, but the line of people who were there to greet her. Several people did it. Oh, poor Meghan. Boo-hoo for her. The thing that I wanted to talk about with the two of them is how despicable it is. Well, not only that she's crying, she's experiencing racism while she's here, or there in the UK, and she's there for the Queen's funeral. Like, shut up. You're not experiencing anything. You're crying out for attention. That's all it is. Nobody likes you because of the way you've treated them, and you're suffering the repercussions of it. It's not racism, girl. Take several seats, Megs. Okay, but then Harry and Meghan were holding hands before they greeted these people. And if you notice, William and Kate, the Prince and Princess of Wales, were not holding hands. They don't do PDAs. Harry and Meghan, constant PDA. And it's so terrible, tacky, awful to be doing it at the Queen's funeral, your grandmother. But you're in another picture standing behind her casket in Westminster Hall, putting your hand over your face to pretend like you're crying, allegedly. But in public, you're holding hands with your wife. At least Meghan's not tacky enough not to wear black. Okay, guys. Holding hands. Who else does that? I haven't seen Anne and her husband holding hands. Haven't seen Charles and Camilla holding hands. Haven't seen any of the others holding hands. Only Harry and Meghan are the ones tacky enough to do this. Here's another picture of it. See? William and Kate at a distance. Oh, I was about to... It reminded me of the Bette Midler song. From a distance. Yes. Harry and Meghan, though, holding hands. And here's another picture of it. Constantly. But William is talking with his hands, and Kate is looking on. Neither of them showing any public displays of affection. Oh, you know what I just noticed here? If you look at Harry, he's got his middle finger out like that. Do you think he's doing that on purpose? Telling everyone to, F off? Wouldn't that be something? Oh my, scandal, and I just caught it. Hey, you guys. Meghan Markle's, that's the last of my pictures. Meghan Markle's online supporters are outraged, by the way, about this lady who snubbed her and the others in the audience who did. But I found several supportive tweets on Twitter, and I wanted to share one with you. This guy calls himself Steve, and he said, I don't know how Meghan has the brass neck to walk about in London, shaking the hands of British people after the mud she has thrown at the royal family. I wouldn't have shaken her hand. Exactly, Steve. I wouldn't have shaken her hand. I would have given her a shoulder so cold she would have caught a very bad flu. Ooh, goodness gracious me. Okay, but I was also thinking about that. How does she show her face? Isn't she embarrassed? Like walking around the royal family, they had that private night before her coffin was transferred to Westminster Hall where it was in Buckingham Palace. That was a few nights ago. Or maybe it was last night. I can't remember. But the family gathered. And I was thinking, what is she saying to them? Or is she just keeping to herself in a corner? Is she even talking to them? Who knows what's going on? I don't think that she's talking to them. I think that she's, like I said, staying in the corner to herself, or holding Harry's hand and kind of standing right beside him with her arm, one arm holding his hand, and the other arm she's got reached over, grasping his forearm, like she always does. Like she's holding on for security, for dear life, like she's some wounded animal that has to have Harry's protection. That's how she keeps him manipulated with her mind control, etc. The constant narcissist. She's fooling him into thinking she has to have him, that she's not going to make it without him. It's like she's projected his mother onto her. Now I'm going into some deep psychological stuff. Let me stop here. But she's projecting her mother on him. I have to have your protection. I think that's why she holds him the way she does with that arm. Because she's trying to put the thought into his mind. Look at the way they're after me. It's just like your mother. If you're not with me, protecting me, they're going to get me also. But that's some really strange mind control, you guys. She knows the trauma that he has from his mother passing away when he was so young. I mean, he's openly talked about it, and she's using that to manipulate him and to keep him. It's absolutely disgusting, you guys. What do you think? leave your comments. I've rambled on long enough, so I'm going to let you guys go. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Leave your comments. Please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification button, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you all in the next one. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Bye-bye.